In the world of fiction, superheroes are always seen as the good guys. Despite heroes having tragic pasts or terrible events happening while they're doing their superhero duties, they still decide to keep moving forward and still decide to save the innocent and protect them from evil or crime. And we all can't deny that there is a favorite superhero that you are a huge fan of and you always love seeing them in action, saving the day. However, in recent times, there has been a different approach on how the superhero genre is shown. While there's still a lot of media that shows how good superheroes are and the good that they could bring to the world, there's also other media that shows us that maybe having superheroes isn't always going to be good, because while they may seem like the good guys, maybe behind the scenes they may be doing things that contradicts their image as a superhero, and they may be doing things that you would expect from a villain and not a superhero. Well, that's exactly what we got in Go-Go Loser Ranger, a series that shows us what would happen if the Power Rangers were not great people and were doing a lot of messed up things behind the scenes, and their priorities are not really the priorities that you would expect the Power Rangers to have. Now, the Power Rangers don't really need an introduction, because at some point in our lives you have probably heard or have seen a Power Rangers show. I mean, when I was young, I remember watching Power Rangers, more specifically one that was called Power Rangers Samurai, and I was a really huge fan of the Power Rangers. And when I found out that that's not the only series, and in fact there's a bunch of different versions of Power Rangers, I was quite shocked just how many Power Rangers exist. And just like every version of the Power Rangers, they are always the good guys. They are helping people, they are stopping the evil that is coming to their world and putting others first before them, doing a lot of things that not many people would do. Well, Go-Go Loser Rangers takes that approach but makes it the complete opposite, as what will happen if there was a group of Power Rangers that they only focus on themselves and use their powers for not so great things. And also, many people who have watched this series has also compared it to another show that has been shown in the West called The Boys, in which, just like Go-Go Loser Rangers, The Boys has that approach in showing us that what will happen if superheroes existed in the real world, but they were not great people and they were doing a lot of messed up things behind the scenes. And anybody that has watched The Boys like I have knows just how brutal and just how really messed up that whole world is. And just like The Boys, in which we have a group of people who are not only your everyday average citizens but don't have superpowers and they're trying to take down people with powers, that's exactly what is going on with Go-Go Loser Rangers, where we have Fighter D trying to take down these versions of Rangers that are known as the Dragon Keepers, in which in the outside many people look up to them and they view them as the heroes of the city, seeing how they fight crime and are fighting these monsters to quote unquote protect them. But in reality, the Dragon Keepers are nothing but just simply fake heroes, because it will be revealed that the Dragon Keepers actually killed their bosses and have now taken control of the minions. This includes Fighter D, and for a long period of time these minions were forced to pretend to be bad guys and do bad guy things, only for the Dragon Keepers to stop them, and for once again all just for a publicity stunt and to just showcasing people that they are still heroes and are still the good guys despite what's really going on when people are not looking. Well, Fighter D has had enough and he has a plan to want to take down the Dragon Keepers. But unfortunately, he's all on his own because his comrades don't really want to interfere with the Dragon Keepers, because they know just how powerful they are, and if they ever do something that's against them, well, they don't have problems taking them out. However, Fighter D is determined to make this happen and plans on taking them down, knowing full well just how powerful they are, but he's perfectly fine doing it on his own. That is until he meets Yumiko and Hibiki, in which despite them seeming to be part of the Dragon Keepers, they actually have their own plans with the Dragon Keepers, and Yumiko makes it very obvious that she wants to take them down, just like Fighter D. And the first time we're introduced to Yumiko, we get to see just how very mysterious but very intimidating she is. It's very obvious that there are a lot of things going on in her mind that makes her very complex. I mean, when we were first introduced to Yumiko, she gives up the vibes that I felt when Makima was introduced in Chainsaw Man. She's a very unpredictable person who has a calm demeanor and is very careful with what she says and what she does. But despite her being a cautious person, she has her moments where she doesn't hold back and says how she truly feels and does what she truly feels is the right thing to do, or the thing that is going to keep her plan on taking down the Dragon Keepers forward. She's perfectly fine working with Fighter D, but also makes sure that Fighter D is under control and doesn't do anything that's going to interfere her plans or could lead to her plans being exposed, thus having for her to come up with a new plan. This is best shown when Fighter D shows the abilities that he has, which is shapeshifting, and he tries to infiltrate the headquarters of the Dragon Keepers. However, things don't go exactly as planned, and he was in a very risky situation in which not only would have he been exposed, but he could have been possibly killed. But it was Yumiko who had to interfere and make sure that nobody knew who he actually was, and makes it very clear to him that if he does anything that's going to destroy her plans, then she has no problem stopping him by any means necessary. And then we have Hibiki, in which unlike Fighter D or Yumiko, his actual approach to the way the Dragon Keeper should be handled is quite different, because Hibiki doesn't want to get rid of the Dragon Keepers, he wants to change it. He knows full well that the Dragon Keepers aren't perfect and they're doing a lot of messed up things behind the scenes, and make sure that they are replaced with people who actually want to help people and actually want to do good, and don't just do good things just to get the fame, attention, and the celebrity status. Of course, this line of thinking is a complete contradiction to Fighter D's, and at one point they express very clearly how they don't see eye to eye with their intentions with the Dragon Keepers, but despite their differences, they make it also very clear that they're not going to get in each other's way, and they actually have some sort of contest where they want to see who gets the Dragon Keepers first. Will it be Fighter D, in which he destroys the Dragon Keepers, or will it be Hibiki, who will completely change the way Dragon Keepers are for the better? And of course, speaking of Dragon Keepers, we obviously have to talk about their role in this series, because the many moments that we get with them, it's very obvious that they are insane individuals. Some of them have egos, some of them think they're better than everyone, some of them have very hard personalities, and even one has a brother complex, this being the Pink Dragon Keeper, in which we find out that the Pink Dragon Keeper and Hibiki are actually siblings, and for some reason the Pink Dragon Keeper has a brother complex for Hibiki, and she makes it very clear and doesn't hide it whatsoever. But the one that's mostly terrifying and the one that clearly shows us that he's a huge threat is none other than the leader of the Dragon Keepers, this being the Red Dragon Keeper, in which many people have compared him to, of course, Homelander, who has become such an iconic villain in recent times. Just like Homelander, Red Dragon Keeper shows very little interest of others other than himself, cares deeply about his image, and if you cross him or you say things that he doesn't take too kindly, well, let's just say that you're not going to survive. I mean, they even showcase this when he kills a person not just in a room that's with the other Dragon Keepers, but with other people as well. And the fact that no one reacted or was even shocked that he did this is a showcasing as well that this is not the first time he has done something like this. These moments alone make it very crystal clear that the biggest threat out of all the Dragon Keepers is in fact the Red Dragon Keeper. And even though they never really thought they were ever going to have somebody that was going to try to take them down, very quickly they will realize that they're going to have a potential threat in the near future, and this threat, if not taken care of, will be a problem for them. And this is, of course, the threat is Fighter D, which at first they didn't really seem to really care since they felt that this was not going to be such a huge issue. But in a moment in which Fighter D manages to steal the Red Dragon Keeper's weapon, and while they don't know who Fighter D is and they don't know he's the person who wants to take them down, they become fully aware that this is not something that they could just simply brush away and can no longer ignore anymore. But with that being said, while Fighter D does have intentions of taking down the Dragon Keepers, it's only just that, just the Dragon Keepers and nobody else. And we see this very clearly, and we see that despite Fighter D being considered the villain, he in fact has standards and he in fact does things that he would never do, like when he was once again infiltrating the Dragon Keepers HQ and he actually impersonated as Hibiki to replace him while he's doing his own things. And during this infiltration he actually discovers a lot more things that actually happen with the Dragon Keepers. More importantly, how there are rangers that are completely rankless. This means they're not part of any group and are considered considered to be just simply people not worth giving attention to, and they have to work extra hard in order to prove themselves that they should belong in a group that the Dragon Keepers are responsible for. This is a clear example of how, despite them all being the same side, not everyone is treated equal, and some people have to work even more hard than the others to get the recognition that they believe they deserve. And Fighter D sees this firsthand, and he comes to realize that the rankless Rangers are very similar to him and his other comrades, who are also getting treated unfairly as well. And due to this is where we get to see Fighter D contemplate with how he actually feels about these group of people. Sure, he's barely known them, and the reason why he's been able to get along with some of them so well is because they believe that he's the real Hibiki, which he is not. But he could tell that not all of them are bad people, and some of them want to be Dragon Keepers for something good or for something that they feel should be a reason to become a Dragon Keeper. So he's in a very sticky situation in which he doesn't know really what to actually feel about all this, and he starts to wonder if he's actually fine with completely destroying the Dragon Keepers. Not to mention that it was also during this time that once again we got to see that Fighter D isn't just pure evil and a heartless monster compared to one of the villains that is introduced later on. This being Lord Patrola, who just like Fighter D also has intentions of taking down the Dragon Keepers. However, unlike Fighter D, this thing is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that they are taken down, and he doesn't care who gets in their way, whether it's innocent people or rangers that have nothing to do with what's actually going on and are just doing their duties. This thing will take down anything that stands in its way or people that it considers as nothing but obstacles for them. Not to mention that it's also revealed that one of Fighter D's comrades, who goes by the name of XX, is actually helping Lord Patrola out as well. But despite them being considered allies, there are many moments in which XX is not really treated fairly or being manipulated into believing that this is for a right thing and this is something that's necessary to do. And when Lord Patrola offers a hand to Fighter D, saying that if he joins his cause, not only will the Dragon Keepers be a small threat and they'll be able to take them down, but they'll be able to conquer the world and make it function however they please. And while Fighter D knew that this was probably a good deal and will really help out with his plan of taking out the Dragon Keepers, he refuses for many reasons. This being, of course, is the fact that Lord Patrola cares very little about the innocent people and will kill anybody with no hesitation if they are seen as an enemy, whereas Fighter D's only focus is the Dragon Keepers. He's not going to use sneaky tactics or use innocent people that have nothing to do with what he actually wants to do to get closer to the Dragon Keepers, because while this would make things faster and more efficient, it's something that he just can't accept, and it really just shows us the morals that Fighter D has, as he's not going to stoop this low just to get what he wants. And this is not only further proven when he sides with the other rankless rangers to go after Lord Patrola, but during what was going to be a battle between the Blue Dragon Keeper and Fighter D, Lord Patrola catches the Blue Dragon Keeper off guard, thus making a fatal hit on him, which of course will lead to his end. But Fighter D is extremely furious about this because this is not how he wanted his fight to end. He wanted to have a fight with the Blue Dragon Keeper with no cheap tricks or taking advantage of the Blue Dragon Keeper's weak state. That is not how he does his battles, because he wants to have a battle till the very end. And while sadly this didn't happen, we did get to see a glimpse of the Blue Dragon Keeper's other side as well. Sure, his personality isn't the greatest, but during his final moments, he states how despite him having this power, he never used it responsibly. He used it for his own needs, and that's it, despite at first wanting to use these powers for something else. And when he hears Fighter D say how this is not the fight he wanted to be in and this is not how he wanted things to end, the Blue Dragon Keeper states very clearly that at the end of the day, he still lost and there's nothing that's changing that. And in a way, this is punishment for everything that he has done. And that's the story so far with Go Go Loser Rangers. Court 1 ended a while ago, and it's already been announced that Court 2 is going to come in the near future. We obviously are still going to see what Fighter D is going to do from now on and what's going to happen with the Dragon Keepers, because now they have one member out. It's going to be interesting to see if they're going to replace the Blue Dragon Keeper or are going to cover it up in order to not have panic with the people and or so their image doesn't get ruined as people might view this as the heroes not being able to take down a threat. So overall, Go-Go Loser Rangers is a series that I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. It has garnered a lot of attention, obviously because now people view this as the Japanese version of The Boys, which is already a popular series here in the West, and many, like myself included, want to see how Fighter D is going to take down the other Dragon Keepers and what's going to happen with the other characters' plans, like Yumeko, who clearly has a motive onto wanting to take down the Dragon Keepers. We don't really know what it is yet, but hopefully in Court 2 we're able to find out, or if not, later down the line we'll probably find out why she has this desire to take down the Dragon Keepers. She's personally one of my favorite characters apart from Fighter D and some others, and I really can't wait to see where her story plot goes. So yeah, if you're a huge fan of The Boys and you want to see something very similar to The Boys, then this show is for you. Or if you're just really interested in the concept of heroes not being actual heroes but instead the villains, then this is also the series for you. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.